Could you use a little extra cash? I know I could. Money magnet Danielle Marggraf is going to show us how we can use our body wisdom to channel in more wealth. Let's see what she has to say.
Watch Danielle totally call me out on my money mindset. I think I finally get it now.
Get excited because you can achieve that magical combination of finding total zen and getting it all done. The voice that says you can't is total mind BS. Money, yes, please. This economic time, everybody's looking for the side hustle, looking for a little bit of extra ways to pay for the really expensive groceries. I am so thrilled to be talking to Danielle Marggraf today, who is going to show us how we can use our embodiment to generate more wealth. So, Danielle, what? Tell me more. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, so I'll start with just sharing that I've been in talking about mindset and manifestation for, oh my God, maybe 17 years. And I've been in the healing arts before then. So my journey is one of many women, I think, of, healing their wounds and right, like all the things that the traumas and all of that stuff. And in healing that, part of my work came to be about manifestation and mindset work because I couldn't quite figure out why, like I have a master's degree. I'm not, I'm educated. And I couldn't figure out why you and you and you, all who had the same degree as I had, were living in houses and driving really nice cars and, had great relationships. And I could not keep money. Like I couldn't figure it out. And back in 2011, I became a single mom. My kids were 1 and 2 years old, and manifesting was not working for me. Mindset work was not working for me. And I was on sort of this path to figure out, how do I get manifestation to work for me? And it didn't. I mean, I could not even manifest a cup of coffee. Okay. And it turns out that in 2017, I found somatic work, and I found it because I was like down and out, sleeping on my massage table, homeless with my kids. I mean, really bad stitch. And I realized that the part that nobody teaches, sort of the gap in the industry, is the embodiment piece. And a lot of people talk about somatic as like soma means body. So people will say somatic yoga or somatic, dance or somatic whatever. But usually they're just using that because it has to do with the body. I had learned a process where it was actually reorganizing, rewiring your nervous system, because we're wired for safety, connection, and belonging, which is not necessarily in connection and aligned to being wired for wealth and success and ambition and putting yourself out there and full expression and all these things. And so I started studying somatic work, and I became a somatic therapist. And I started mixing the manifesting principles and the mindset principles with this embodiment piece, and voila, it is like a magic formula. So my clients, like I went from very little money to, I think my first year was 154,000 at the time, and then doubled it and multiplied it every year after that. My clients, right, they start to understand the integration in the body and go, oh my God, I have to feel it, which we all sort of know cognitively, but we don't know how to integrate that into our system. And so that's what I teach, and that's what I do. And that's the whole idea of expanding and embodying into millions.
So, can you explain what that means? Because I have definitely done like meditations for wealth and, listen to the right frequency for wealth, blah, 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 all these different techniques. But what does embodiment mean, and how is it different from what I've been doing?
So, embodiment is the process which we actually can integrate into our being, ourselves, our body, the beliefs that we are wanting, how we're wanting to show up in the world. So your subconscious lives in your body, right? And your subconscious is like a black box on an airplane. It's recording everything in every moment. And so we all have heard that we're operating from 95 to 90% subconscious, right? Like that is what we're operating from. So we're not operating really from the cognitive mind. The cognitive mind is really looping us all day long for the most part. If you were to write down your thoughts in a day, the likelihood is you'll find a track of like, or a pattern of your thoughts that sort of loop. And so the embodiment piece is actually to get into the emotions, the thoughts, the beliefs, and also involves the nervous system, right? And so when we can get the nervous system on board, which is the command center of our body, we can actually begin to change habits, which our subconscious loves habits. All we do all day long typically is habits, right? It's like one habit after another. You're not thinking about it. It's not hard to wake up and walk to the bathroom to brush your teeth, typically for most people. But when we're changing a habit, right, it becomes hard. It feels like uncomfortable. And so what we are trying to do is create a new pattern in your body system that you're embodying a new identity, a new self-image, a new feeling, new sets of habits, new sets of beliefs, because somatic lens says habits, when we are aware of our habits and we understand what's happening inside of us, we can now have a new choice. And then we can take that new choice and we can start making changes. And they might even be small changes that create very big impact.
Wow. Yeah, so that sounds really interesting. And for the people who are ready to get started right now, today, while watching this episode, what can we do to get started?
So, I mean, it's very basic and foundational, but I love a body scan,
Okay.
right? Like if you could just begin to build a relationship with your body by tuning in and connecting and just seeing what is, right? So we're not judging, we're not analyzing, we're not trying to figure it out, and we're doing it from the lens of the soma, of sensation. We're not doing it from the lens of emotion. So when we do a body scan, it's like, oh, my right hip feels a little pinched. Oh, I'm starting to feel there's something radiating up my back. Oh, you know what? My jaw. Oh, you know what? Actually, my stomach feels really soft today. I feel really good. My belly feels really good. I don't feel, oh, right. And we're going through the body and we're going from the feet all the way up to the head, or the head all the way down to the feet. And what you're doing is you're starting to develop a relationship with understanding what I call your somatic baseline of sensations, right? And so they could be different every day, but the likelihood is most of us ignore subtle sensations until they hurt. But your sensations are your body's way of giving you feedback to what your soul is saying, right? So the body gives you feedback. So we start to understand, like, listen, how many times did maybe the soul voice say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do that workshop, don't do that workshop, don't do that workshop. But you pushed forward because the rational mind said, if we don't do the workshop, we're not going to get the client. If we don't get the client, we're not going to get the money. And what happened is over the course of the month, your right lower back really hurt, or your shoulders really started feeling heavy, right? It's like we actually, our body contorts and shows up and is giving us sensation based on our beliefs. And so there's this way that we start to move in the world with shoulds and have tos, and right. And so we just understand what's our baseline. How do we move on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday? Then we sort of get really clear on when we're feeling regulated, when we feel completely dysregulated, right? And what we require to come back to a place of calm, or lacking chaos, or releasing tension if that's available to us. So I like the body scan.
Okay, so connect the dots for me. How does that link to generating more wealth?
So a body scan alone is not going to generate more wealth. So let's just be really clear. Like, I'm not saying you're going to go do a body scan and you're going to make money. But what we do is, if you were to involve these other parts, like, so for instance, if you have a belief about money, I think you started this whole call with, oh my God, groceries are so expensive, right? I don't think that way. right? Like, I just don't think that way. I think that, and gas, oh my God. Well, groceries and gas is what it is, right? Like, it is what it is. So to me, if I am in resistance or if I feel like something's expensive, I'm probably in tension or contraction around it, right? We call that, poverty consciousness or lack or scarcity or whatever you want to call that. And when you are in lack and scarcity, you are in contraction. You physically will have some level of contraction. When we're in contraction, we're usually in protection. When you're in protection, you can't be in connection. When you're in protection, you can't receive. Everything starts to lock in a place of, right? We're holding now. We're holding. The whole idea of energy, if we're talking about money as an energy, it's a current. It goes out, it comes in. It goes out, it comes in. It goes out, it comes in. You're in a current. It's currency, right? It's not a mistake. And so if you want to be in currency, you need to be always in service and always being able to receive for your service. And that has to be, you have to hold the capacity to that in constant. So to go back to what you were saying or what you're asking is that when you are in constriction, the likelihood is you are resistant to all the ways for money to probably show up and come in. And so when we are in a flow, when we believe that the universe is abundant, when we believe that we're limitless in our creativity, when we understand that there is unlimited supply and we're going to tap into that, then what does that do to your soma? What does that do to the body? Right away, just saying those words, I was like, this feels good. Okay. But most of us don't have the capacity to hold that because we are conditioned in patterns of the other. Right. But it's the feeling and the being able to go that allows us to download new ideas, opportunities show up, new clients show up, people show up, right? All things start to show up, and you are now fueling yourself with this life force of being able to be in service, not from servitude, not from scarcity, not from I got to get the client or get the person, but you are doing it from total devotion and service because you know that you are going to be, it's going to just come back. It will always just come back. So we need to wire for wealth. We need to be able to embody the capacity to hold pleasure. We need to be able to honor what is. And we're not trying to get ourselves out of it. We're trying to really sort of unlock these places that flare up when we want to go beyond what we've already done. Because that means the unknown. That means the mystery. That means not necessarily who are we then? Who's everyone else in our life then? What happens then? And that alone could get someone to constrict back to the comfortable and the familiar. And we will always choose comfortable and familiar over the bold new, because that's what feels safe, even if it's not the result we want.
So tell me about your journey from this place of homelessness to this business that's generating hundreds of thousands of dollars. How did you get out of lack when you were living in such a place of lack?
I know. I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see you that well. Okay, there we go. Oh, you have purple hair. I love that.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So, most of my clients have experienced significant amount, I would say, of trauma, right? Like, I mean, I think every human has experienced that. And so they've done a lot of work. They've done a lot of healing work. By the time they get to me, there is this level of, I'm ready, right? It's like an I'm ready. So my dark night of the soul, I mean, there was tons, but my one real significant dark night of the soul was, that night I was in my energy medicine practice. I had a physical location. I had my massage table. I was sleeping on my massage table. I mean, I wasn't really sleeping, but I was staying there for the night. And I maybe dozed off for 10, 15 minutes. Like it was just like these short spurts of like cat naps because I was exhausted. But I remember waking up and I was in this deep, deep, deep shame spiral. And I heard this voice that said, so Neville Goddard, I don't know if you're a Neville Goddard fan, but I had studied Neville Goddard for a long time because I was a mindset, right? I was all about the mindset and the manifestation. And Neville Goddard has a quote, and one of what the quote is it, opportunity comes in the form of temporary misfortune and defeat. And I never really got that quote. And then somehow it just like sort of filtered in to like me in my like shame spiral of like crying and begging and pleading and praying. And I thought, okay, where is the opportunity in this disaster? Right? Where's the opportunity? And I went to my laptop and I to this day do not remember even what I typed in. And I found polyvagal work. All right, work around the polyvagal. And I do tons of work around polyvagal, right? Like, so polyvagal is essentially like where we can understand how to regulate, how when we're dysregulated, the fight, right? And so there's this whole idea of like fight, flight, and safety, and freeze, and fawn, and these were all new concepts to me, right? They were all, I was like, how come nobody, because I have been to therapy and group therapy and Reiki and energy work and shamanic journeys and soul journeys and right, like every freaking modality under the sun, I've done it. And but nobody ever talked to me about this. And so I enrolled within 24 hours and I was enrolled in a program to become certified as a somatic therapist because it made so much sense to me. And what I started doing was applying these principles of really being with my body, right? Like really being with my body and understanding that that was feedback that could support me. So it's like this. How much money would you like to make?
I would like to make $100,000 this year.
Oh, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. So you want to make $100,000. And so if you want to make $100,000, you need to be wired to be able to receive $100,000, right? You need to be able to believe that you can. You need to be in the identity of someone who already is a six-figure earner. You need to be in a state of receivership, right? You might need to start pivoting and changing how you operate in your business or what you're offering, right? Whatever the things are, right? There's going to be emotions that come up. There's going to be things that you're going to have to grow from and learn from as you start stepping into this, right? There's going to be ways that you're going to have to pivot. Well, your system might go, oh my God, I didn't think it was going to look like that. Right? You start getting this whole thing of, I don't know if this is going to look like that. I'm not sure if I can do it. Oh my God, I don't know if I really want this anymore. Right? Like you'll start getting all this mind chatter and your system is going to feel completely dysregulated. And so what it really is about is how can we repattern your system by connecting what you want, your self-image, like your true identity. How do we look at all the things that might be pinching that off and clearing the way? Yeah, you can't get into it while you're fearful. The thing is that, well, here's the thing. You might still need to take action steps that you're still in fear, but you feel safe in the fear. It's like more of a fear where you're feeling safe. You're not feeling exposed or you're not feeling like a sense of doom and gloom. You're feeling like, like I am scared shitless to show up being fully expressed in this way. Right. But I know that's what I'm meant to be doing. I know that's my soul leading the way. And I think that what I think most people don't know about somatic work is that it is a soul-led process, right? It is like combining. It's where your mind and your body become allies and your soul gets to show up as expressed through the physical manifestation of whatever you're creating, right? So I think that when we get to a place of in our fear that we're in fight or flight, or we're in functional fawn, freeze, or we're fawning, that's when we need to start rewiring or understanding, or going in there to understand what is causing that reaction. And do we have a way, is it available to change, to wire to something different? Because when you wire to something different, like you're held and safe and seen and heard, and you can be in that expansion, then you can create it. Because it all comes from the body. It doesn't come from here. It comes from here.
Yeah, that's such a shift to think of it as coming from the body. So if people want to get started on this journey and want to join you in this, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay, so I would suggest, a couple of things. One, you can find me on Instagram, just my name, at Danielle Marggraf. But if you want, go to my website, DanielleMarggraf.com, MARGGRAF as in Frank.com. And I have some freebies on there, right? So we have the morning money activation. We have some of my favorite somatic tools that you can start using immediately, that will start getting you into this world of like sensation and body and presence and your power, right? And so I would start there. There's lots of stuff on there.
Fantastic. So I will
Free.
drop all of Danielle's links in the description so that you can access them. And Danielle, before we sign off today, do you have any last words for our viewers?
Well, I think the only thing that I want to say is this, that this method isn't for everybody, right? I think that some people choose strategy or ticky-tacky tactics because that's what feels good to them. But I believe that if you are a woman who is, has access deeply to her emotions, who is all about body mind, who is who the old way of doing business or right doesn't work for you, then it's probably because this is your way, this is your path. And I believe that as women, we have disowned our power, identity, and voice for eons, right? And this is about reclaiming those things, and the money is just a result of truly embodying those parts.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for showing up today and sharing this amazing wisdom. And I hope that our paths cross again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
My life is a total B word. Balanced. Subscribe below and let's see if your life can be the same.
I am beautiful. I am loved. I am safe. I am free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me.